Hi, and welcome to our promised question and answer video.
Yes. All right, so we're going to go through our questions. We may do some another day too, so we'll just splice those all together. So here we go.
Yeah. So one question from Casey was how I've been getting over my fear of heights. So it's kind of been a slow process, and actually before I started doing this, before we started on the trail, I saw a therapist that specialized in phobias and trauma. And so she gave me some strategies to get over that. Essentially, before we got on the trail, I just slowly went up higher and higher places. One of the things I think people miss about how to not be afraid of something, a lot of people just think that they're going to be able to like jump out of an airplane and then suddenly not be afraid of heights. But that's not really how it works. At least for me, the way it works is I have to slowly put myself in more and more fearful situations until they feel normal. And just tiny baby steps. Because it's the fear that's the problem. It's not actually the heights. It's the fact that you're afraid of the heights. So just having a lot of just normal time, hanging out somewhere up high. If you get too scared, that's fine. Stop. And you'll see in one of our previous videos, I actually walked around because it ramped too quickly for me. One of the other strategies is go with a very nice and trusted person.
Yes.
Sarah will just, if I'm having trouble with heights, she just walks in front of me. I watch her gaiters, which are this beautiful like red thing. She's not wearing them right now because we're at camp. And we just talk about things that have nothing to do with what we are doing. So I've heard, TV, songs, just random stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That actually leads into Casey's next question.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, how do we get our trail names? So let him go first since his is connected.
Yeah, so that first day, I got the name Spam because I threw up Spam twice because I was hyperventilating so badly in the that first ledge before we had really figured out our system to be able to do that.
It was day 4.
Day 4. It was a rough day for me. So I happily mentioned that to someone who was passing by, and they dubbed me 2 Spam Vomit, which I shortened to Spam.
Yes.
Also, Sarah had read a book on mental toughness for the trail that she recommended to me, and I also read. So she pulled me off the ledge and kind of was like, okay, what are your reasons for being here? What's going to happen if you quit and can't do this in the now? It's kind of an emotional moment. Kind of found my own reasons for doing it, and I'm like, okay, it's worth doing, even though I'm scared.
Yeah, if you want to check out that book, it's called Pacific Crest Trials.
It's a great book.
Personally, for me, I didn't find it super helpful because I've already done some things that have been really tough for me, especially learning roller derby when I didn't know how to skate. So for me, that was a lot of mental toughness. But it was really good to just, get those strategies, and it was really nice I was able to use that to help him really regain his motivation to stay on the trail after he was dealing with his fear of heights. And then my name came about because around Beryl Springs, which is a kind of like a park, there's like real grass. We decided to go a little bit further down the road to camp just because there was a ton of people camped there already, and the park was like really close to, sorry, there's a mosquito on my nose. It's really close to the highway, and so we thought we could get a little further from the highway by going further. It turned out we did not get any further from the highway, but we did find a decent campsite. So we set up our entire camp, blew up our air mattresses. We're like ready to go to bed. And then I noticed that 5 feet from our tent, there was a set of cougar tracks. And then probably 15, 20 feet kind of around a bush from our tent, there was a nice, like a spinal column that had been picked clean. It was not fresh, neither were the prints, but it was definitely a cougar area. And so in the morning, another thru hiker came by named Cardinal, and he dubbed me Cougar Bait.
Which is probably the most memorable name among the people we've been hiking with.
Yes.
Everyone always remembers her name.
We've ran into a few people who are like, oh, Cougar Bait, I've heard of you. All right, we're going to jump down to a question from Hallie. Hallie asks, what tools do you have for navigation? And how, and planning for how much water to carry. So we pretty much just use Guthooks, which is a GPS app that you can download on your phone. It's available for Android and Apple products. It's essentially a guidebook and a GPS all in one. So it'll tell you what mileage you're at. And then it'll also have a guide to towns and tell you, you know, what businesses are in the towns that you might want to visit. And then it also has marked on there different designated camp areas and streams. And so you can actually look and see where the next stream is coming. We typically plan 1 liter for every 5 miles.
I do every 4. I'm a bigger guy. I need a little bit more water than Sarah does.
And that might change too if we're doing more elevation gain. We might pack more, or if it's really hot out. But a general rule, 1 liter for every 5 miles. And that app will actually tell you, you can click on a little stream icon and see like how far away is that stream. And it's also a space where people can comment. So you can look on there and see, has anyone said what that stream is like? So sometimes people say, this stream is already dry for the season.
Or we have one coming up that's full of bees.
Right, yeah. There was one that had a note in it earlier that there was a dead rat in it. And we did not use that water.
Well, it was great because we knew to fill up, so we didn't have to.
Exactly. So that's pretty much what we've been using. We have been kind of supplementing that here and there. When we were up on Apache Peak, our buddy Navi, or short for Navigator,
appropriately named,
she used a Topo Maps app to try to find us an alternate route, which actually would have worked, and apparently other thru hikers have used that route. It's just that the wind was too intense when we were up there, so we
it was blowing us around too much. Just as a little addendum to that, the PCT is so well marked that we can just use this app. It's kind of well known. When we go through the Sierra, we're going to be carrying actual maps so we can deal with that. But since the PCT is so well marked, we don't have a compass, we don't have that, and we're very comfortable with that. But for those of you who maybe don't have as much experience hiking, aren't doing this particular trail, I would definitely check out the 10 Essentials before you step on the trail.
And just to follow up on that too, Hallie mentioned that she was impressed that we were able to find another option for Roger to avoid that section of the trail that was too scary for him with his fear
it was
of
on me.
And that essentially we found, again, using that Guthooks app. So we saw on that app where the trail was, and we saw that there was a road that intersected the trail that led out to the highway where he could either walk or get a hitch.
No one's going to pick me up by myself, though. So
and then we saw that then later down the road met up with another section of the PCT after that drop-off section. So
important note, there were some bets going on about how long it would take me to get my first mosquito bite.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently, it just happened during this video.
It just happened. It's April 7.
It's April 7, so whoever won that, you won that. That's
yes. Well,
very irritating.
They're kind of big out here, too.
Yeah.
So there's a question from Travis. How are the feet and legs feeling at this point?
Pretty good. My we took a 0 and we've been hiking a little slower, so they've shrunk. But both of our calves temporarily were kind of monstrous. But we slowed down a little bit, so they've shrunk down a little bit. But I had one injury in my hip where I kind of slipped over a ledge and got back on it. But other than that, I think pretty much I've been good.
And we've been really lucky that right now, currently we're hiking with Ritz, who is a professional massage therapist.
Very good friend to have on the trail.
Yeah, so she helped us out a little bit this morning. Otherwise, you guys have probably seen my foot update. I have one toenail that's kind of purple. I haven't lost it. I don't anticipate that I'm going to lose it at this point, just because it's not getting any worse. And then he has a few blisters that are healing, and they haven't really been a problem for a few days now. So altogether pretty good.
Yeah, the liner socks have been working really well, and I'll actually, like today, I changed my socks halfway through the day to get the sweat off of them. I'll use Leuko tape over the side of the injuries. It's been pretty good.
And the liner socks he's talking about, those are actually a toe sock. So it's it's called Injinji is the brand, and we're using the New Wool toe sock. So that's just an extra layer of wool underneath our Darn Tough wool socks. So lots of wool is our secret. All right, so Travis also asked if we're seeing the same hikers every day. Any that we like or hate to be around. So lately we've been pairing up with our buddies Ritz and Navi, so we've been with them for a few days. Towards the beginning of our hike, we were buddied up with our friend Dr. Mindbender.
Misty Man.
Yeah, so we haven't seen him for a while. He ended up taking a 0 and he skipped ahead of the snow, so we might see him down the road. Other than that, we're kind of running into people here and there. He's got a special friend relationship with Young Giardia because they both have the same color backpack.
We bump our backpacks together every time we see each other.
Yes. And Young G is actually the one who took a 150-foot fall at Apache Peak.
It's his first hike. He's tough as nails.
Yeah, he's awesome. So definitely hope we see him again. There's also just quite a few people that we keep bumping into here and there. Pinwheel, who actually hikes with a pinwheel. He had to use it as a stake one night and became his name. There's also New Calm Bob, who's just great. You know, we're running into all these folks. So far, no one that we hate to be around. I probably also wouldn't want to say that on the video in case they saw it,
but it's true.
It's true.
Occasionally, I mean, there's only really one group of people that I don't like, and that's we'll get Facebook comments on things that we post of people who are not actually on the hike, have not actually had our experience or been out the day we had, and they'll just say something like, "Oh, that's totally passable," and I'm like,
yes.
You weren't there. You don't know. And we have different levels of skill. It might have been passable for you. Was not passable for me.
And he's specifically talking about our attempt at Apache Peak. And we'll be posting a video about that shortly. But it was extremely stormy the day that we were up there. So not a safe choice for us.
Mother Nature said no. We agreed. Travis asked, what are we looking forward to seeing in the next few weeks? Well, tomorrow, we're maybe going to go to a dinosaur park in Cabazon. I don't know if we're going to actually do that. Other than that, I'm extremely food motivated at this point. So, like, any place with a restaurant, that's where I want to be.
Yes, and there is coming up, after not too much longer, is the PCT McDonald's. So we still have quite a ways till we get there, but that is a goal. As funny as that sounds, there's actually a McDonald's that's essentially right off of the, oh my gosh, there's a lizard like 3 feet from us.
It kind of looks like it's going to like jump on us.
But there is a McDonald's that is right off the trail, and there's actually a official trail sign that says how many miles to the McDonald's. So that is something that we're looking forward to.
And then it was my first real experience on snow today. The Sierras are supposed to be pretty sketchy at this point, but between getting better with my fear of heights and becoming more familiar and experienced with my snow equipment, I've gone from, oh, we'll probably have to skip the Sierras, whine, to I'm actually really excited to try.
I'm really excited.
I actually, pro tip for other people who are afraid of heights, micro spikes or crampons basically turn you into Spider-Man. It's great.
And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Deep Creek Hot Springs.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
And for those of you who don't know, we love visiting hot springs, especially natural hot springs. And so this is a natural hot spring.
It's huge.
It's a big one. It should be really nice. So that's probably, I think it's like 150 miles maybe from where we are now. So it'll be a little while, but it's exciting nonetheless.
So Emily asked us what the most unexpected part of the trail has been. I already have mine in my head. I'm going to wait for Sarah to answer hers. You'll probably see a cut right here.
I guess the most unexpected is just how quickly things have been coming up. Before going out on this hike, I did a lot of reading and I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I actually watched through like 6 different through hikes from last year and also some like from 2017, so the last couple years. And there are things that, you know, I've seen in those videos and I've expected to get to, like Eagle Rock is an example, like some of these big landmarks, and it's just really surprised me how quickly we've gotten to them. And then also it's been a pleasant surprise how unique those experiences still are, even after having watched, you know, 6 other people go visit them.
And then for me, it actually happened today. And that's, we are in a zone where we have to stay away from the rats, squirrels, and chipmunks because they have the bubonic plague.
Also marmots.
Also marmots, yeah. But I was not expecting to walk into a bubonic plague zone on the PCT. That just blew my mind. I guess also yesterday we ran across a really creepy collapsed hunter's tent.
Oh, that was really creepy.
Yeah, that was really creepy. And so we had to cut it open and see if there were any corpses inside. And luckily there weren't, but there was a PlayStation 4.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. That the area we were in, the road had washed out last year, I think. 1 or 2 years ago.
It was actually fairly recently.
Oh, it's fairly recently? Okay.
This year, Idlewild took a huge hit. They got a lot of rain and snow kind of all at once, and it washed out 2 of the highways into town. And so we were taking the Black Mountain Road alternate because Apache Peak was not passable for us. And so we ended up going down that highway to the closure and then hiking up the Black Mountain Road, which currently...
Yeah, a nice trail angel dropped us off and then we hiked the rest of the way.
Yeah, so it's currently inaccessible to vehicles.
So my guess is that the hunters bugged out at some point because that was a really nice tent. They had a stove, they had a fridge, they had all kinds of weird stuff in there.
It was a heavy-duty Cabela's tent.
But it also looked like the start of every horror movie we've ever seen that, like, starts in the woods. So, real glad no corpses.
And they had a couple coolers up there, and one of them had been ripped open by, I'm assuming, a bear, and the insulation from that cooler was spread around, so it was a little creepy.
A little creepy.
Also asked about how our bodies are adapting to doing so much walking, and I didn't realize it's only been, today's I think our 16th day on the trail, and we've both noticed already a visual difference in our bodies, which is really surprising that this would happen so fast. He actually had to have a belt made because his pants are a little loose.
I wasn't expecting it to happen this fast.
Yeah, so the outfitter there in Idlewild was super awesome, and they put together a custom belt for him.
Yeah, it's like a nylon strap with a clip. Nothing fancy, but I'll be able to trim it as I continue to lose weight and cinch it up. The other side of it is actually pretty soon here I'm going to have to buy a new hip belt for my backpack because I've almost run out of room to cinch it. So I guess I'm going from an extra large to a large.
Yay! Yeah. That's great news.
Also, sunburns.
Sunburns. I realize it's not a walking thing, but sunburns are a thing.
Sunburns are a thing. You probably can't see it on my hand because my tan's even out a little bit, but I did not realize walking in the desert that I'd need special gloves to keep the sun off of my hands. So for the first little while, my hands were pretty burned.
And I do wear sun sleeves during the day because I wear a t-shirt to hike in. And so we'll see if you can see it, but I have a nice tan line here on my thumb. This is not dirt. This is my actual tan thumb. And then my fingers here too. So you can see how much those sun sleeves really protected my hand there.